Hi everyone, it's TanyaMFK here with your 52 weeks of momentum lesson recap. We are in week 24, and if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Tanya Marie Figueres-Kreisinger, more easily known as TanyaMFK. I am a member of Benjamin Hardy's 52 Weeks of Momentum course, and I come here every week just sharing the highlights and the lessons and the things that I'm learning so you can tag along and get a piece of the momentum along the way. This is in no way a substitute for Benjamin Hardy's actual course, with the most obvious reason being I'm not Benjamin Hardy. And we also get a ton of other things and great support and all these wonderful things that I can't give you. But what I can is at least take you along with what I'm learning and the awesome lessons that I'm gaining from this. So stick along, grab some momentum this year, and then make sure to sign up next year, right? Like, come on, it was amazing. So anyway, this week, like I said, is week 24, and it's less of a lesson and more of a challenge. It's a challenge. So what was proposed to us this week? Are you ready? Fast for social media for 7 days. Right? 7 days. No social media. Complete blackout. Nothing. No checking, no posting, no anything. And that goes for even if you're running a business from it, right? Like that's something that I'm doing as well. We have a lot of things that are going on marketing wise. There are still ways that you can set it up where you can step away for 7 days. So, what do you think? Does it already feel crazy? You're like, oh my God, hyperventilating. You're not alone. Apparently, research has actually shown, and there's been studies and surveys and what all those things are, where people said they can't even fathom being without their phone for 7 days, right? Being without their phone. And let's be honest, most people aren't making phone calls on their phone. So being without their phone is really being without the ability to check social media or fill your time really with something on your phone when you find yourself standing in line or waiting for an appointment. Everyone grabs their phone and you're playing games or you're checking social media, you're scrolling, whatever, you're using that phone, right? So that's everyone. Everyone's there. Everyone's doing the same thing. So it's important for us to take a break, be aware of our habits, and see what's really going on. I grew up in a time when the phone was attached to a wall, so you couldn't take it with you. You just couldn't. And people called and you missed the call. And if you were lucky, you might have had a device that caught that message and they left a message and you called them back. Oh my gosh, right? It was that easy because you were busy living life and you just dealt with those things when you had the time, which was when you were back home, selling back in and said, oh, hey, looks like we had a call, we had a message. Or maybe not even that, and the person just had to call a couple times and hope to catch you, right? So it can be done. I am testament to the fact that it can be done. And let's get that power back, right? Let's get that power back that some of us, maybe not all of us, but us old timers here did have. We knew what it was like to leave without our phone, to not have something entertain us during those dull moments of life. So let's try it, right? And why? Okay, why? I'm sure you've heard plenty of reasons, but let's talk about some of the reasons why. One thing that I've noticed for myself is that a lot of what's out there is really low standard anyway, right? It's not even like the most amazing stuff. It's not like you're like, wow, but I learned so much. And I'm sure there are instances where you do, and people are sharing articles. And honestly, I have friends that go on political rants against each other, and it's really insightful actually, because I can see like both sides and what they're talking about, and like, oh, that's a good point, and that's whatever, right? So there are moments where we learn, but that's the minority. The majority of it tends to be really low level, and it's really not high quality what we're consuming, and it starts to lower our standards of what we're willing to consume. And I am 1,000% guilty of that. I know one thing happens to me more often than I'd like to admit. I was doing really great about not scrolling at night, but it kind of crept back in. And then I would find myself after probably a good 20 minutes or something reading like the autocorrects, like the autocorrect fails, like the list of like 20 funny autocorrects or funny tweets. Like I really like funny tweets. But I was tired and I needed to sleep and I needed to wake up on time. And here I am wasting 20, 30, 40 minutes looking at autocorrect fails or funny tweets. And is that really what I want to be doing with my time? And the problem is it wasn't even a conscious choice. It wasn't like I opened it and went, I'm going to look for funny tweets because that's clearly what I want to do with my time right now. Like, no, it was actually super, super subconscious. And that's scary. It's scary in a way. Like, I could have read a book. I could have done a lot of things in that 40 minutes. I also could have slept, right? That was a really great idea as well. And instead, my brain I just like went on autopilot and let it just consume this really low level stuff. So that's a big reason right there, is to take a break from it and to be conscious of some of those choices and where we're spending our time. When we take a break from something, we start to realize how much it was involved in us, whether, and how much time it could take or how much it distracted us. Again, really depends on what the thing is. But this goes for all things. It could be coffee, right? Coffee. So you're like, oh, I don't think my coffee is relatively normal. I just drink one coffee in the morning. And then you might notice when you decide to take a break from coffee for a week that maybe you have more time because you're not going to make the coffee or find the coffee or drive to Starbucks. Or maybe you noticed you're like, I actually feel a little different, or I feel a little more calm. I don't feel as crazy. I am sleeping better. There may be things you start to realize, but you're not going to realize that. Doesn't matter if people tell you that's what's going to happen. It's not going to be experienced until you yourself does it, right? And experiences it. So there's so much clarity in taking a break from something. I know for myself, I actually did a 10-day vow of silence. I know that's super hard to believe, but for 10 days, I didn't talk at all, didn't talk. And it is absolutely amazing what you notice when you shut up and you're not distracted, not only by yourself, but by others as well. So no one's talking. And I noticed the craziest things. Chewing can be really loud. Like, wow, chewing can be really loud. I noticed the way birds walked, like more than I ever had, because I was like really paying attention. I noticed how many cracks were in the sidewalk. I heard lizards make noise. I don't know if you know this, but lizards make noise. Didn't know that. I also realized where my brain goes. Like, it's all over the place. And I'm not conscious of it most of the time. You're just letting it like run amok and we're not being mindful, right? It brings a whole different meaning to mindfulness when we're like, oh, wait, let me see what my brain's doing. Like, where's it going? It was in so many places. Within 1 hour of watching it, you're just like, man, no wonder they call it monkey brain, right? It's like, it's all over the place. It is insane. It's insane. Right? That's a whole other topic. Okay, but my point is when we take these breaks from something, right, it heightens our other senses. We start to become aware of so much more. So again, do this, right? It's such a great reason to do this. Now let's go with some of the obvious reasons. Some of the obvious things that everyone talks about and I think we've all heard about before. And if you haven't, oh my gosh, good for you. Then this is your first time you can hear like, why is this so like important? The social comparison. Comparing ourselves, comparing our lives, competitiveness, all of those things, right? They happen. And it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how often you've heard or been told or have seen. Like nowadays, we're a little more aware, like how everyone's lives are kind of pseudo-constructed online, to look perfect. And we're now aware that there's filters and Photoshop and all of those things. But it's still hard. It's still like right there in your face, and you can tell yourself like, oh, I gotta remember, like, it's not all real, but it looks so real. And your initial reflex is to be like, wow, everyone's life's really perfect and amazing, and wow, I'm not doing that, and look how great they look now, or look how oh my god. And then they're gonna be started on like there's actual filters that'll like make your face skinny, and like you can like squeeze in where your body is. So like maybe she doesn't look so great right now. You don't know. There's so much of it that's not real. And we're comparing ourselves to this unrealistic thing. And the studies have shown, like, obviously creates like depression and anxiety and all of these things. Like, oh my God. So even if you don't necessarily feel firsthand that you're experiencing that, taking a break will either heighten that and you're like, wow, I kind of was. Or maybe just confirm that you weren't. And good for you. But you won't know until you try. Right? Like, you don't know until you try. Another one, FOMO. Okay? If you don't know FOMO, fear of missing out. Fear of missing out gets everyone on a certain level, one way or the other. It happens, to anyone, and just seeing everyone, oh, look at everyone's at this party I'm missing, or everyone's been to this place I haven't been, or, everyone's seen this new movie and I haven't seen it yet. But it happens in business as well. Oh my gosh, there's this meeting. I should go to that meeting. Or, you see all these ads and these things come through. You're like, should I be doing that? Do I need to go there? Is this a new person I should be following? Oh, like FOMO. I might be the one missing out and not getting all the good info, or just catching up on the latest news or whatever. Like, that's a version of FOMO, and it's overwhelming. See, I feel overwhelmed just talking about it. There's so much of it, right? So give yourself a break from that FOMO. Become aware of it if maybe you're not, So yeah, like, do that. And even if you don't consciously sit there and go, that's what it is. It is like in front of you all the time, and like making these decisions. Like, how do I feel about that? All back here. So there's one. Another reason, and this I think is so important, so obvious. Sometimes the hardest thing to do. Connecting in the real world. Wow, connecting in the real world. How many times have you yourself, or have you seen others sitting at that table in the restaurant or whatever, or sitting, coffee, whatnot, and everyone's on their phone. Everyone's looking down. I mean, it's almost a joke. It is a joke, but it's not. It's like not funny that's where it happens. That's where everyone's at. I will be super honest. I had some people stop by not that long ago, and they sat on their phones like almost the whole meal, and the rest of us were kind of looking around like, geez, like this is really not fun. Not fun. Like, they were guests. We were hoping to connect, and it was not fun, and again, we're not like some family that doesn't have phones and haven't been in that place either, but it was just kind of like, hey, like, we're here to talk and be here and like have this meal together. And they just head down the whole time. It was so uncomfortable and awkward, not fun at all, and there was no connection, and it really kind of like didn't want to invite them back, and it wasn't because we didn't like them. It was just like, that was really uncomfortable. I don't think that was fun. Like, why would we want to do that again? So connecting in the real world, right? Starting to be aware of what's going on around you, and what's happening, right? Like, connecting, my goodness. And also like living in the moment, right? That's all kind of the same thing. Like, being able to live in the moment and really experience what's happening right there. If we're in that moment and all we're doing is like, oh my gosh, this is so great. Hold on, let me get my phone. Let me get the picture. Let me upload it. Let me get the caption. Let me write the hashtags. Are you really experiencing that moment anymore? Are you really part of what's going on anymore? I actually saw an amazing article. Oh gosh, I think his name's David Buddha. I don't know. He's kind of a new person that has come across my radar. I'm not sold one way or the other, but this particular article was amazing, and he was explaining, like, as a musician, some of the most like amazing experience is to be there and see the people just like kind of let it all go, and they'll dance and they'll move, and like to a point, there's certain people that just really, it's like everything else melts away, and they're just in it, and they're just there, and they're just like 100% vibing it, right? And he's like, as a musician, there's just such an amazing feeling. Like, there's this connection, and everyone's just in the moment, and it's like happening right there. And he said that in one not that long ago, a lady came up to him and was like, oh my gosh, can you play this song? It's like the most amazing song. I love it so much. It feels so good. It's just life-changing. It just means so much to me. And he was like, yeah, of course, it'd be amazing. So he's finishes up whatever his last song, starts the next song, does the song, and sees her face light up, and he's like, yeah, it's awesome. And then she pulls out her phone and sits in her seat and videotapes the whole thing, just sitting there. So what? She can show everyone else that someone played that song? Is she really going to take that recording and play that song? Like, I'm sure there's a great recording, like professional recording of it that sounds fantastic, that's not on her phone, that she can listen to when she wants to hear that song. But that experience that she could have had was lost. That connection that could have been there was lost, because now it was just about taping it on the phone. And he was saying how disappointing it was, and how he was like, he was kind of upset and then kind of sad for it. Like, this is what it is. And I think you've all seen it. You've all seen the, a great crowd, a great thing, and everyone's just holding up their phones. And now a lot of musicians are actually banning that, just because, maybe because they want people to pay more attention. And I'm sure maybe they don't want pirated stuff, but whatever. Anyway, I hope you get the point of that. The point of that is like just living in the moment, being there in the moment, being aware of what's going on. Not, every time that you are, waiting for an appointment or standing in line, or I just read another article. Someone was talking about how he took a break from social media, and so he was noticing all the people who were on it, and he was in the line for Starbucks again. I mentioned Starbucks a lot, which is funny because we don't even have Starbucks out here, but he was in line for Starbucks in the drive-through, and he said he noticed the lady behind him in the rearview mirror just hadn't even looked up from her phone. And he said when she was ordering, she didn't look up, anything, she didn't look up. And so he said he ordered her, he prepaid for her drink. And he said part of it, it was a nice thing to do. He also want to see if she just would look up. And so, I guess he kind of waited there to see. And he said that she, glanced for a second and was, kind of smiled and then was, right back on her phone. Right? So, any moment, you have this moment where you're not driving, you're not, anything's required of you, is you're just waiting for your coffee and you're on your phone. You're having an appointment and you're waiting for an appointment, you're on your phone. So, every free moment, you're on your phone. Every free moment that you could have a thought or an epiphany or give your brain some space, you are shoving input in it. You're just sitting there and consuming and don't know what it's like to not have that, to have that crutch. People don't know what it's like to sit and wait for something anymore because they have this instant gratification of entertainment. That's a crazy thought. That's something that's borderline scary, that we're so incapable of just not having it, of just being with ourselves, right? So living in the moment and finding some free time, right? So that's another thing. Finding free time. You clearly have it. You clearly have it. If you have time to get on Facebook, if you have time to get on Instagram, whatever it is, you obviously have some free time. So don't tell me you don't have time. And when you take a break from social media, guess what? You're going to find that time again. You're like, oh, wait, I do have 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 20 minutes there. And you know what? A 5-minute meditation, that's a good amount of meditation. 5 minutes that you can waste scrolling, you can do if that's something you've been wanting to do. Don't tell me you can't do it. 5 minutes of yoga, 5 minutes of anything, a 5-minute reading of your book, a 5-minute reflection on your life is still better than this constant consuming. Just consumption. So another great reason is there. And when you fast, your desire for something starts to change. If you go back to that coffee example, it might be so hard at first and you're like, oh my God, all I want is coffee. And then after a while, depending on your coffee situation, you might start to realize I don't even really want coffee anymore. It's not even that big of a deal to me. Your desire for it changes once you've been away from it. And when your desire for something changes, your habits change. And so, that's a whole other thing that you might be able to find. So I think that these are huge, strong, points and reasons and reminders of why it's great to take a break. And my number one favorite thing that Benjamin Hardy actually said about this challenge, and I'm going to read it right here. It says, time is something you can either spend or invest. When you spend your time, you're leaving your future self worse off. When you invest your time, you're leaving your future self better off, right? Pretty simple, but it's spending it or investing it. Are you wanting to spend your time? You want to just spend it and then it's gone? That's it? Because we know we don't get time back. Or do you want to invest it? So while we don't get the time itself back, we're going to get something that comes back to us. Whether that's being, more becoming the best person who we can be, whatever it is, but invest that time. It's going to be way better off for your future self. So go for it. 7 days, social media fast. If this is if you're dealing with business or something like that, there are ways to pre-plan this. There are several apps out there. I use Later for a lot of it. There are so many different options. Facebook even has a built-in one. If you're not into trying to find a new app right away, you can still pre-do it simply right in Facebook itself. There are so many options for 7 days. That's all it is, 7 days. If it's messages you're worried about, there are ways to automate that. Again, you can do this. You can do this. It is possible. You're super capable, and it's only 7 days, right? go longer. There's so many articles about people going 30 days and all the amazing things that have happened in their lives. I've never heard anyone say, like, my life was miserable after taking a break. I've yet to see it. If you find one, please send it my way. I would love to see it because it's yet to be the experience from someone doing this. So what do you have to lose, right? And then after the fast, ask yourself, these are the questions that Benjamin Hardy said we should ask. So after the fast, what did you learn? Right? It was a good reflection. What did you learn? What do you want to change or need to change about your social media habits? So don't ask that now. Ask that once you've left, because I think it's going to be a lot more clear. And you'll be like, wow, I noticed XYZ, and now I want to make sure I do this now. So ask yourself, what do you want to change now that you've had this experience? Change or need to change about your social media habits? And what healthy boundaries and patterns can you set when you go back? So, we're not saying you need to go away from it forever, but when you have this moment, you have these realizations, you have this experience, you can now go back conscious of your habits, conscious of your mind frame, and choose to set different boundaries and habits for when you go back to it. If it's only a certain amount of time a day or a certain time of day, certain time, websites or whatever it is, right? Certain social media platforms, set something, set it up, make it clear, write it down so it's real, and realize what your goals are. In the end, right? In the bigger picture of all of this, what are the things that you really want to accomplish? And if being social is the main thing, then maybe social media is the place for you to always hang out. But if that's not, then it's time to really be clear of what those goals are. So that is it. I wish you the best of luck. Please come back. We'd love for you to comment and tell me how it went. How'd it go? Did you love it? Hate it? Amazing epiphanies? Gonna do it longer? What changes, did you make? What did you decide? Please come tell me all about it. I will do the same. I actually haven't done the challenge yet. So I will be on there with you too. And don't forget, if you want to understand how taking a break from social media can actually help your business and actually help you grow and as a person, as a business owner, and all of those other things and all of these other lessons that we take and we have here in 52 Weeks of Momentum, come and follow me at TanyaMFK on Facebook and Instagram, because that's all we talk about. It's all about taking these same concepts as being a holistic person into being a holistic business person, right? A whole business owner. So come and follow me there. And also, if you want to make sure to get the next lesson here for our weekly things for 52 weeks, then definitely click that subscribe button and follow me there so you'll get notified when our next lesson is up. Have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye.